Alright, so today's video, we're watching a Diamond 1 tank on PC. We're gonna see a little bit of Roadhog, some Doomfist. They say, I'm a tank player, and life is miserable. I am Diamond 1 and trying to get to Masters 5. Been playing steadily since February of 2023. I think I played decently in this match, but feel free to correct me. I thought it was an easy dub since I was on Hog, and their tank was on Doom for the whole match. I bullied him a bit. Anyways, I just want some constructive criticism and tips to improve my gameplay and climb to Masters. Well, believe it or not, even though we meme a lot about Roadhog, etc., even if, like, Hog gets nerfed, there's a reason why you'll see really good Hog players still in top 500. Because it's just, you're playing, you're almost like not a single player game, but you don't have to work with your team as much, right? You're not, the utility you bring to your team is like your hooks and your ability just to be, like, you know, a distraction. So, we'll see.
Attackers incoming.
All right, going for the hook off the map, the classic. I'm actually impressed that you managed. My guess is the Doom didn't have their slam. They must have slammed out. Honestly, good job though. And we got to see the classic somebody off the Rialto Bridge. Quite a start. Oh, what a hinder! Holy crap. Also, chat, and for people on YouTube watching this, I do plan on doing the live bronze thing we talked about. We're not talking about, like, where I'm gonna coach, like, a bronze in their rank game. So it's not like I'm gonna be in the game. I'm not doing that. It's, I'm going to, also good start so far. You're hitting your hooks, you're kind of staying around the map. So far, so good. We're gonna start putting out the applications on my Discord where basically we'll have them, like, stream their point of view in a game, and we'll kind of give them, like, live coaching on things to improve on as they go. So there'll be, like, a whole thing we're gonna have a whole thing set up, like, kind of like what you're looking for, what you think you need to improve on, things like that. We can kind of go from there. So, yep. Apparently the YouTube comments were very much like, yes, please do that. So we're gonna try it out, see how it goes. Just for fun, why not, right? Yeah, I mean, so far, by the way, you mentioned you feel like you're playing well. Like, I love how you got that pick. Yeah, this is, and by the way, this is what I'm talking about. Where, so, oh yeah, I mean that's a lot of the same. You're playing well so far. I mean, obviously, Roadhog's one of those things where, like, Roadhog is one of those heroes that you kind of just vibe out and just do what you're doing. I mean, that's essentially what's happening. I can't tell if I'm watching an ego VOD right now, because, like, it feels like so far there's been nothing that's really been like, oh, I need to, like, tell you to improve on this. Like, so far we've started off with an ego VOD. Now, keep in mind, it doesn't mean it will result in an ego VOD, because there's plenty of time, but so far we got the ego VOD vibes.
No one can hide from my sight.
So we'll see. It's a 20-minute game, so I think eventually there's going to be stuff that gets hecked up. So far, you're doing everything you want to do right. You know, maybe you could have turned around for the... It's just like watching Hog in general. A lot of it's just like, you run around the map, you run in circles, you hit your hook or you don't, and that's pretty much what you do. Rushing your hook a little bit, I will say, I've seen you do that a couple times where you rush your hook. I usually just say be patient with your hook, and I know that's, like, very generic advice for that one, but it's always a good reminder when you're on Hog. If, like, you find that you go on a chain of missing hooks, usually just because you're being either impatient or you keep flicking your mouse one of the ways that, like, consistently. Like, for example, if I'm having a bad Hog game, I generally will look at it and see where my hooks are going, and I'll notice, oh, I keep over-flicking my hook. Yours have been to the right. So, like, what I would do is, okay, if I'm over flicking to the right, I need to, like, let my hook hit, and then I can do whatever I want to after. I think sometimes players are already trying to, like, follow up on their hook or, like, do something else at the same time as they throw their hooks, so they move their mouse, so. But yeah, so far, it's, I mean, like, if you play like this every game, you should be fine to get into Masters. Like, outside of, like, your patience hooks, I mean, you're using your hook a little bit too impatiently at times, but you're also hitting good hooks. Yeah, you see what you're doing? You see, like, what I'm talking about there? How you're... I say that, now your hooks are starting to get a little bit worse. You see how you're kind of flicking your hook away? That's what I'm referencing. So this is where I just say, whenever you get into this mode on Hog, and you're struggling to hit a hook for a while, just remind yourself, be patient, and kind of look to where you're aiming at. Right there, you didn't move your hook, and it worked out perfectly, right? I mean, so far so good. Like, I don't see this and go, oh no, what are you doing? I mean, so far I got the vibes of an Eagle VOD on Hog. You said they keep using their take a breather when they're purple. You know what? This is what I love about live spectating. So it actually is okay to use your healing when you're purple. Not for healing, but for damage reduction. So actually, I'm not saying that you constantly want to sit there and use it during when you're purple, but you still get the damage reduction. So it's actually sometimes worth using your heal when you're purple if it means that you're going to survive due to the damage reduction. So yes, you don't get healed, but you do have a lot less damage happening to you during that. So it actually isn't necessarily a terrible play if they're doing damage to you. Now, obviously, like, if no one's attacking you when you start using it, then that wouldn't be ideal. But if they're shooting at you, then yeah, the damage reduction alone is good. If you use it at purple, oh, nice hooks. If you use it at purple, okay, sorry. You're saying if when you're purpled and you start using it, and will you get the last bit of heal? Yes, that was nice. Like, I mean, like I said, they're having good hooks, and a lot of it's just you're just not being patient with your hook. I mean, that's straight up what it is. I don't really... This is one of these games where, like, you're playing fine. It's just a good game so far. Like, their team's making plays, your team's making plays. And I don't... I don't know. Yeah, you talking about Cardiac Overdrive? It gives you damage reduction. It gives you lifesteal and damage reduction for your whole team. That's why Cardiac Overdrive is so strong, yeah. By the way, I want... When you watch this VOD back, I want you to see all of your missed hooks. Watch what you're doing. You're basically over-flicking your hook, now, what I mean by that is, it usually is the tendency if you're going to do something else already. I want you to start to focus on, like, hit your hook first, and then do the rest. Because this is the issue that I'll run out of Hog for a little bit when I first start, like, okay, I gotta play a game of Hog. First, like, 10, 15 hooks, I'll do that, then I'll start to slow down my hooks and realize that, like, I'm just moving my hook too much, so just, like, try to... See, you see what you're doing? You're doing the same thing every time. It's been more to the left now. You're just flicking to the left on almost every hook, and you're just missing it. It's patience. That's it. That's all you need to do. You don't need to be more accurate. You just need to throw more hooks. That's a bold strategy. I mean, maybe. You're almost treating it like a hit scan or something. Well, like, kind of. You just don't want to, like... Oh, yeah. Good luck. Yeah. I mean, it's... Yeah, the truth is that the other team has also done a much better job of handling how you've been playing since the beginning. So remember how at the beginning you were dominating? This is kind of where you need to, like, look at that and go, okay, so what are they doing to me, right? A lot of what's happening to you is, one, you're missing your hooks now. So all the value you had from your hooks are gone, right? If you're not hitting your hooks as Hog, right? Let's just be honest here. If you're not hitting your hooks at least somewhat consistently, you're losing a lot of value on Hog. Even more so with the recent nerfs, because the recent nerfs made it so, like, you also have a little bit less survivability and resources off of those mistakes. So, like, that's what I'm saying, where, like, if you're just going to be impatient with your hooks and not really get the full value, you're going to see the difference. First point, your hooks were great. You had a great first point. Second and third point, you started to flick your hook off and miss all the time, right? And you had a terrible second and third point. So this is why I just want you to get in the mindset when you're playing Hog to just remind yourself to be patient with your hook, and you'll see better results. Even if you hit 3 or 4, maybe 5 more hooks than you did that game, you look at they finish with no time, or you win the match. It could be that much of a difference. On top of that, you have to look at what they're doing. The Doomfist has started to engage you more, right? And what I mean by that is a lot of your heals are being interrupted by a Doomfist, which means you fall behind on heals, and they're purpling you pretty consistently. So you got to look at that and go, okay, is it worth staying on Hog here if they're going to get that value? The question is maybe. You do have a Kiriko, so you have value there, but yes. Which tank counters Zarya? Best one I would say for you is Winston. What in the world is going on over there? What was that? Winston, though, I would say is your best against Zarya. And the reason being is because, like, Zarya loses a lot of value when Zarya can't get charged and can't follow up damage-wise. So your bubble alone prevents a lot of that, and you can also do damage, like, kind of player on that bubble. I would say one of the best counters to Zarya is definitely Winston. For sure. All right, good start again. Good start again, not bad. Good hook. Nice. Now this goes back to what I was said. Look at the value you get when you hit your hooks. Okay, are you seeing the value? That was a patient hook. You didn't move your hook, you let your hook hit. Results, right? You're seeing that now. You're letting your hooks hit. Patient hook again. You're letting your hooks hit. Now do you see the value? So of course, like, when your questions are what are things you can work on, it's like, well, if you're gonna play hog, you have to find those value in the hooks, otherwise you're just gonna be wasting your time. And look what happens. You hit your hooks, you get value. So can you follow up with that same value going into the second and third is the question, because you had a great first point last time. Let's see how it goes into the second one. You said, well, that's obvious. Like, if you're saying you don't hit your shots as Widow, you're not getting value. Yeah, doesn't mean you can't bring it up. What I mean, like, think about it. They're like, hey, what can I do better in these situations when I'm playing hog? I'm telling them, you gotta be more patient with your hooks so you're getting the value. Like, I'm not just gonna sit here and not say a word. You know what I mean? Like, they asked what's going wrong. I'm telling them what's going wrong. Now you're purple, and yeah. So this is where I would say, go one more time on hog here if you want to get value out of your ultimate, but don't be afraid to swap off. And I think you mentioned, or not mentioned, but it showed you went Doomfist. If this doesn't go well here, I would recommend going Doom. Or like, sorry, let me rephrase that. I'd recommend going something else. Keep in mind, I know you go Doom, which is why I say recommend going Doom. I'm not saying you would want to go Doom in all these situations. I'm just saying I would. Yeah. Or is this Diamond 1's not too bad. Good hook. I'm going to lift up a little bit on those too. The problem you're going to run into too is, oh, there you go, nice. And then those are the patience hooks I'm talking about. Do you notice how you're not? It's pretty much like night and day between the way that when you miss your hook and when you hit your hook, right? It's like it's legit night and day. It's like either you're super accurate because you're not moving your mouse as much when you're going for the hook, or it's massively inaccurate because you're flicking your hook before you do anything else. That's kind of the problem. And I know we've brought that up a few times, but I'm trying to give them that constant reminder. Good hook there, good patience. Keep in mind the Doom has done a much better job of interrupting your play, but yeah. I mean, DreamHack was great. OWCS was a fun time. I got to, you know, just chill, have a good time. That's what mattered. That was the most important part. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was a great second point, and that goes back to what we said. I can do a quick pause here. That's Roadhog for you. Like, do you see that second point and how much, like, how beneficial it was for him to be able to make those plays and do all that stuff as Hog? Like, that's what I mean. You gotta play Hog, you gotta have to be a playmaker. Because, you know, some tanks bring utility, Hog just brings a limbs a lot of the time. Like, there is the utility on Hog, your best utility is your pig pen. That doesn't even help your team that much. So, I wonder where you go Doom. Oh yeah, I mean, if you have a huge pig pen, I mean, of course it's going to be a dominating performance, right? A huge pig pen. Yeah. And I think that's the problem I run into Hog with is, like, the truth is this Hog, and I'm sure Hog players will tell you this too. Sometimes you just need to be selfish as a Hog player. Like, the way that you play, and that's why I think it's also not quite my play style, is because, like, sometimes that you're almost with your team too much, right? Heck it, go for a slight flank. But, like, that's just kind of, yeah, there it is again, rush hook. Same thing. Sometimes? Okay, you know what I mean, though. Yeah, I mean, you have to play a bit of a selfish play style. That's the design behind the hero, right? Like, that's what you do. Now you're on Doom, which, by the way, this was a good swap. I would have maybe recommended a little bit sooner. And I say a good swap in the sense that, like, you're off of Hog now. You were doing okay on Hog, but I think you're recognizing you're going to run out of, like, map space to be able to make those plays, which puts it more direct. One of the problems that tanks run into in general is that they put most of their cooldowns into you, and this part of the map, it's really hard to get behind them, right? Like, say you get behind him here and you make a play, great. But then you have to do the same thing everywhere, and it becomes a lot easier to deal with a Hog. So going Doom, like, I don't mind. I think, like, the only problem I have with you going Doom here is that if they keep playing the same way they've been playing against you, you're going to run into the same issue. Their Ana's going for good nades, good sleeps, and then their Doom is also playing kind of like this defensive play style against you. So if you play Doom here and their Doom keeps, like, counterpunching you and, like, making it annoying for you, you might run into the same issues, right? Because, like, you see what I mean? That Ana is just constantly grenading you. Which at times can be good. Like, if an Ana uses it early, you have a time in there. But, like, you're not gonna Honestly, good punch, good play. Hey, Ravana, thanks for the 13 months. Thank you, thank you.
For the constant content, Mr.
Hey, good job on Doom so far. I like this. I would say an excellent start to Doom. See, my number one issue on Doom is I'm unaccurate with my punches, and you've been fairly accurate, if not fully accurate. I don't even know if you missed a punch yet. Nice job. I mean, this is just good Doom play. You know what, like, and maybe I'm wrong. I think if you, like, play like this consistently, then you're gonna definitely climb into Masters. I don't even question it. This is just good Doom play. I mean, it makes me question, do you always play Doom like this? Because if you always play Doom like this, I'm gonna be real with you, you could easily climb. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, don't get me wrong, a good Hog is tough to play against, but a good Doomfist is really tough to play against. Keep in mind, this is because Hog got recently nerfed. So I'm just saying, like, if you play Doom like that, then do not be afraid to switch to Doom. I'm not even kidding you. That was some good Doomfist gameplay, which also goes back to more of an ego VOD. But I also think, like, it's been a good VOD to recognize what your number one issue on Hog is, especially if your hero pool revolves around that. At least in my opinion. Maybe I'm just so used to how bad my Doomfist is that, like, the bare minimum of just hitting a right click is good enough for me. I'm like, you know what? I just watched you hit a right click as Doomfist. That was wonderful. You really know how to play Doom well. Go play Doom in your games. I'm sure your teammates are gonna love that. Like, I'm just like such a fan of seeing a right click actually hit that I'm like, yeah, that's good. Go play Doom. That is all I require out of you, is just hitting your right clicks. Because when I do it, I just kick field goals. The Hog's fun though. I mean, yeah. I mean, to each your own with that, right? Like, you know, there's heroes that people are gonna love, people are gonna hate, etc. Yeah, I mean, Hog can be fun for people, right? Good patience, good play. Yeah, you just honestly, your number one issue on Hog is you have so many wasted hooks. It's almost like you almost like nerf yourself a little bit in the sense that, like, you're just like, rather than, I'm telling you right now, if you're just a little bit more patient with your hook, you're gonna be fine. If you watch what you're doing, you're over flicking all your hooks. That, like, any hook you hit is when you don't. Okay, that should just hook. Any hook that you miss, you're generally just over flicking by a ton. Any hook you hit, you're just being patient with your hook, as in, like, you're not moving your hook until you see it hit. So, yep. That's kind of a good way. You said it's like the long range hooks they're treating as like as if it was close range. Oh, so like they're moving their hook a little bit sooner. I mean, that could be true. I mean, you're not wrong. Like, their close range hooks have been a little bit more accurate because, like, because they're already starting to move their mouse, so it's like they almost maybe have the muscle memory. You know, and that's actually not a bad way to look at that. Is maybe, like, some Hogs almost have, like, the muscle memory of, like, close-range hooks, so that when they goes to long-range hooks, they're expecting their hook to hit, so they move their mouse, which leads to a bad hook. I can see that being very true. I didn't even think of it that way in that sense. Is it a sensitivity issue? No, because they've been pretty accurate with their aim. It's like, okay, imagine this, like, you hit your hook button, then you start moving your mouse. I think that's what they're doing, and they have a timing down at a certain range where, like, if they do that, they're good to go. Nice hook. Does that make sense? Good ult. This is good so far. Good play. I mean, you can hook during your ult, which I think a lot of people know that, but I always remind people because I always forget. Because it was not in Overwatch 1. Nice. I mean, that was a good play. I think that was a good play. Would I say the position is too aggressive? I don't know. It's hard to say because, like, I don't want to take away from their ability to go and make a play as Hog. So I think, like, positioning as Hog is one of the few heroes you probably don't hear me talk about positioning too much. Because, like, what is good positioning with Roadhog? Now, an example of good positioning with Roadhog, I think annoying positioning is the best positioning for Roadhog. Does that make sense? Like, would I recommend that you stand here, right? Like, as Sigma? No, but could you stand here as Hog and just be annoying? Oh, 100%. So I think like a lot of, like, what Roadhog's position is more annoying position. Where, like, it's just like, imagine being the other player and just how frustrating it is when you watch a Roadhog just sitting there staring at you going, hello, how are you doing? I'm gonna stand over here, you know I'm here. Your teammates can't really shut me down. And if I hit a hook from here, you're losing the team fight. And I think that's kind of what you want to look for with Roadhog. So sometimes that can be aggressive. Sometimes that can be passive. And that's why it's really hard to kind of dictate where you want to play as a Roadhog, right? Why is Bastion and Mauga combo so strong? Because you can't get out of Mauga's ultimate. That's why. Or unless you're saying just in general. I don't know, because you can shred. You just do a bunch of damage. By the way, just you're doing it again. I'm gonna be honest with you. You're this close to being in Masters. I really do think if you just like if you're gonna play Hog, you just need to fix this. Straight up. You just need to fix your hook accuracy. That's it. And what I mean by that is it's not about hit more hooks. It's about why you're missing your hooks. Does that make sense? That's straight up all it is. It's why you're missing your hooks. And it's because you're straight up just over flicking your hooks and being impatient. That's it. That's all I'm seeing out of you. If you fix that by even 30%, you're going to be right into Masters 1 or Masters 5 or whatever it would get you to. Masters 5, yeah. So I can already tell. Because mechanically, I've seen you making a lot of good plays, but I see where you're going wrong on Hog most of the time. It's the same thing every time. And keep in mind, sometimes you're going to be like super accurate with the hook and still miss it. But yeah. Here we go. Not bad. I'll show you in a second in the training range what I mean. I don't know if we'll end up in the video, but you never know. Remind me to look in the training range. Good hook, good play, good pull. Remember that, by the way, for anybody new to Hog, the Pigpen combo was really where you get those one-shot combos. So that's why it's like, it can be very important that when you have your hook ready, you also hook into a Pigpen. Name is fine. Thank you for the tier 1. Thank you. Appreciate it. I think a lot. What the? Okay. That was one of those cool looking hooks that, like, if I hit that hook, I would have been like, yeah, I meant to do that. If I was streaming it, I'd be like, yeah, you know, it's just, you know, I go for these hooks that are pretty crazy. You didn't even mean to hit that hook. The other team needs to reset. I'm trying to think of what you're... I mean, honestly... here it is again.
A taste of poison.
Oh, nice hook. Wait a second. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like... So, like, I can see where, like, you're frustrated with this game, but, like, and maybe it's just how I'm seeing this game right now in general, but I feel like if you just were what we talked about, being patient with your hooks, I think, like, you're not even in this situation. Remember how I talked earlier about how, like, it could take a couple minutes? It would be, like, those 1 to 2 minutes can be, like, a difference maker. Remember earlier how I mentioned, like, after that first round, a lot of your second and third point just came down to you straight up missing your hooks, and that was it. And if you're gonna, like you said, if you're gonna play Hog, that's where you're gonna find that true value. And look what happened. That extra 2 minutes was basically the difference maker in this game. And that's what's gonna, like, really help catapult you into that, like, Masters range, is just you gotta be a little bit more patient with your hooks, make a little bit more of those plays, and I think you'll be in a good spot. Also, your Doom was pretty good, so I think mechanically you're going to be fine. But yeah, as a tank player, I think if you're going to choose Hog, be a bit more accurate with that. The problem with Hog is that, like, okay, so this is what it's like when you don't really, like, you have a target and you don't move your mouse, right? See what I'm talking about? Like that's clearly it's not going to, like, you're going to be accurate. But a lot of what people do is, like, you go, I might hook this bot in an accident, is like, you go for the hook and then you try to make the play happen, you see? And now, that's basically why I always say, when you're on Hog, you just need to be patient with your hook. So, like, if you do this and I move my mouse, I was aiming for that. I was aiming for this hero right here. Do you see that? So a lot of players, they'll aim for that hero and they'll move their mouse too soon. But if you just wait a little bit and you understand the timing on your hook will become a lot more accurate because you can get away with, like, that mouse movement. But if you do this right away, you're going to miss your hook. That's what players do, right? Is they throw their hook and then they already move their mouse. Just when you throw your hook, just give it 1 second and you're good to go. I know that seems very simplistic and like a very basic tip to Hog, but I think I see so many Hogs do this where it's like, oh, go for the hook, oh, and I'm gonna go that way because you're flicking your hook even though you're trying to aim at this target here. You just gotta give it that extra, like, 1/10 of a second. It's like, okay, I'm going for the hook and I can move my mouse around. See, the mouse is moving around, but you got the hook. I know it's like such a basic tip, but I'm telling you right now, like, it's the difference between your hook going over there and your hook just straight up doing that. It's like a 1/10 of a second. That's it. It's like, okay, I want to do it. I want to look good here. I do this. Boom, boom, boom. Now I can move my mouse around. See? That's it. a 1/10 of a second difference. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to all 3 YouTubes if you haven't. If you want to submit your own spectating, look in the description below. You'll see my Discord. That's where you do that. Also, leave a comment. All of it helps. We also record these live on stream. Look below the webcam. You can see the Twitch chat right there. We have a lot of fun, so stop by if you haven't. And with that being said, I hope you all have an amazing day/night.